Hello again. Today we're going to tie this soldier Palmer fly. This is a really old pattern. Dates back to 17th century, I believe. Isaac Walton mentioned this fly in his book, The Complete Angler, in 1658, I think. Don't quote me on that date, but I think that's when that book came out, 1658. So it works today as well as it did back then. Very good lock fly, still water pattern, river pattern, it all works. On the rivers I found this works quite well, skating it across the top, although it is a wet fly, so it is meant to be fished subsurface. So yeah, let's get on with this. We'll take this one out of the vise, and in the vise I'm going to put, this is a partridge sedge caddis hook in a size 10. You can tie these 12s, 10s. I've even tied some bigger ones actually in like size 8s. This was actually to as a decoration rather than a fishing fly. Tied it for a friend of mine actually, whose surname is Palmer. So he wanted a soldier Palmer fly to give to his dad, I believe. But anyway, Merry Christmas, Mr. Palmer. Okay, so we'll start with a really squeaky bobbin, apparently, by waxing the thread. This is just Uni Ultra in 140. You can use Uni 80, 60. You could use UTC Ultra in 70 is probably a better thread thickness, a bit thinner than this, but this is all I have. So I don't have any 70 in black. So I'm going to start just a little bit back from the eye, and with a nice wax thread, I'm going to come down until it just starts to come around the bend of the hook there. And that's where we're going to add our tail. Now our tail is, this is just wool roving. You can use red yarn, wool that's already been sort of exactly that, yarned up, ready for knitting. I buy this wool roving. I use it for all sorts of things. I use it for dubbing. I use it for heads on pike flies. So I've got a bit, I've just folded it over to give me a thickness. And I'm just going to catch this on with a pinching loop on the top, just like that. Have a look. I'm happy with that. Got another turn just to hold it, try and keep it on the top. And then we're going to tie in some, this is just French oval tinsel. You can use gold wire, you can use French oval tinsel like. So I'm just going to use this. Full length of the body, we're going to catch it in. Now I'm going to trim the yarn at an angle, again full length of the body, and now I'm just going to support the hook, which is going to come round, and we're going to tie this in. Ideally you want it to stay on the top so we can catch that. I'm just going to wax my thread here. It is rolling and slipping on me, so if it's doing that, a little bit of wax will help. Now come up and just tie that in. Full length of that body. And there we go. I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back to the start of the tail. And now length of the tail, about 1/2 to 3/4 of the length of the actual shank of the hook. So there we go, just a straight cut. That's lovely. Now dubbing is the same wool. But I'm literally just picking it apart and restacking it, picking it apart and restacking it. Probably going to need a little bit more than that. You can put this in a coffee grinder. That'll do the same thing as what I'm doing here with my fingers, basically. Because I'm only tying a few of these flies, I'm just quite happy to just do it with my fingers. So we're basically shortening the fibre of the wool. Now, we're just going to dub that onto the thread. As you can see back then, they did use, well, they used all natural materials because I suppose they didn't have the synthetics, did they, that we've got today. You're going to take your time dubbing this on. Take your time. Little and often with dubbing. Little and often. If you try and put too much on in one go, it doesn't really work. So I'm putting a thin layer on in the beginning. I'm tightening after every turn because I'm going to come back and just thicken it up a little bit with another row of it. Rather than putting it all on in one go, I find the flies are just a little bit more robust doing it this way, little and often. So let's get that on there. And now we're going to come back and it's just thickening the body up where I want it thickened up, and then we're going to come back with the thread. That's all right. Okay, I'm going to get toothbrush, pick a little bit of the dubbing out, just make it a little bit on the scruffy side. And now I'm going to take, this is actually just a half saddle. It's a grade 3 ginger. We're going to take one of appropriate size. I've tied a few of these so I can kind of guess okay. I'm taking off the fluffy bits and what I don't need at the bottom. Come on. Now, as we've said before, you can see there's a natural curvature in the feather. With that convex side facing the eye, just catch him on. Concave side facing the rear. Nice wax thread will hold that stem just lovely. Okay, get that up. Now, just going to come back to the start of the body with my thread. Nice wax thread to catch the oval tinsel. And now, hence the name of the fly, Soldier Palmer, we are going to start with 2-3 turns at the head, at the end of the body, sorry, and then we're literally going to palmer this down the body. These feathers are long enough so you can do it with your fingers, and then when we get to the base we're going to catch it with the oval tinsel, nice and tight. If you let things go now, it'll all go wrong. So keep everything nice and tight. Come up 4 or 5 turns with the French oval tinsel, catch it. Come on. We've waxed that thread so we know it's going to hold nice and tight. We're going to trim the French oval tinsel away. We're going to trim the saddle feather away. And now I'm going to sweep everything back and I'm going to have a bit of a tidy up of this area ready to accept our hackle. I like tying these. I know I say that in every fly I tie, but now this is just a natural red game hen saddle. You can use you could use a Chinese cock, you could use an Indian cock cape, but you want a soft hackle at the front, right? It's all about movement, yeah? So again, it's a natural curvature of the feather. We want that. We want the convex side facing that hook eye. We're going to catch that feather on. We're going to tie him in nice and tight. Okay. I'm just going to get rid of the stem. Come on. There we go. Now I'm going to need... See, that's not tied in that great. So I'm just going to come back. Sometimes they'll sit better for you the second time. I'm just going to come back and do it again. If you're not happy, don't think, oh, that'll do. Because as we've said, you'll never tie that fly on. You'll put it in your box and you'll never tie it on. So what's the point? You might as well just go back, start again. It's no big deal. Just going to come in, get rid of that. That's better. That's better. You can see the way it's laying. I can see that's sitting for me a lot better. Right, now before we do this, I'm just gonna have a tiny bit of a tidy up here with a nice waxed thread, just to give me grip. Now we're going to pick the dreaded hackle pliers up. How many times are you going to slip out? Catch the feather. And now you want probably most of this feather, to be honest with you. So I'm sweeping the fibres towards the rear of this, and we're going to come around and I sweep the fibres back with my fingers every turn. It's going to come around. Oh, I caught the thread then, it's going nuts. Come round. I might get another turn in there. We're going to catch it with the thread. A few turns, we've whacked the thread. Get rid of the stem. So if I take there's the end of the feather. Whoops, come here. Take it out the hackle pliers. Sweep everything back with your fingers now. Everything going forward of that eye. And just create a nice head. There we go. All right. And now straight in with a whip finish. And I'm just gonna grab my whip finish tool. Hold everything back. 1, 2, 3, 4's plenty. Support it. Tighten it up. Come in. Whoops. Trim away. Now have a look. I'm just going to get my brush here and I'm just going to sweep everything back. Don't know what that is. Something in the brush, I think. Just have a good look. Criticise what you've done. You know. There we go. So all I would do now, to give myself a nice shiny head, is I'm just going to come round and just going to put some super glue on here, because I found that you get putting super glue on first and then varnish, you get a real nice shiny head. So I'll just wait for that to dry. Just wait for that to dry, and then once that's dried, sorry about my hand, I'm just blowing on it. Normally I would give this a good 3 minutes, you know, a good 3 or 4 minutes, so that super glue is dry. But I don't have 3 or 4 minutes because you don't want to sit there literally watching glue dry. So now I'm going to come in with the varnish on my needle. We're just going to put some varnish over the super glue. Got a bit too much varnish on the needle, but we'll be all right. Just like that. Just be delicate with it. And I'll probably do a good couple of coats with this, just to give me a nice head on the fly. Just gonna have a look. Yeah, we'll let that dry. We'll probably do another coat. But there it is. That is the Soldier Palmer. Like I said, it's a very, very old fly, but it still catches fish today like it did back in the 1600s, you know. 17th century fly. I think, don't quote me on those dates. I think I've got my knowledge right. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope my friend who I've done this video for, has enjoyed watching it, and I hope you've all enjoyed watching it. Please like the video if you have enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.